Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever time you're watching this, as always, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. So, if you're new here, we do live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. We cover all kinds of cool topics, fishing related, outdoors related, and we also go down rabbit holes and have all kinds of fun. Welcome to the channel. We also have giveaways constantly. Every month we do giveaways for members. We also have subscriber giveaways. So hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and let's get into today's video. So tonight we're going to be talking about spawn fishing, post-spawn fishing, and of course the title of today's video, you vote, you choose where I go. So a little bit later on tonight, about halfway through the show, when we have as many people on as we can, I'm going to hold a vote, and throughout the show, I'm going to remind people. And basically, wherever you pick in the state of California is where I'm going to go next. So I'm willing to head anywhere north of the Grapevine and anywhere south of Shasta. So you guys tell me. You can send me to the hardest body of water. You can send me to the best body of water. Pick one and I'll go. Hey, James Sanchez, good recommendation. I don't believe I've ever been to Pardee. Heard a lot about it, so I'd be more than happy to go. Let's just see where everyone wants to send us tonight, and I'll go do a video there. So it could be any of the Fresno lakes, Success, Cahuilla, Pine Flat. You can send me Salt Springs, Clear Lake, Berryessa, any of the Mother Lode, the Delta, Los Banos Creek Reservoir, Scotts Flat, Almanor, Pardee. There's just a lot of Amador, a lot of different lakes in California. Trinity, Bullard's Bar, probably willing to go up there as well. So we'll hold a vote later tonight and we'll figure it out. So where am I going? That's the idea. So throughout the night, if you guys want, just leave your recommendation. And at the end of the night, whatever body of water has the most votes or most mentions, that's where we're going to be going. Then we're going to be doing a video. I haven't posted a video in a little over a week. Fishing wise, I've got some info on these two GoPros. We're going to be doing that video, a Delta trip. I've just been real busy this week, so that's going to go out. Members will have early access to it this weekend, and then it'll probably drop Monday or Tuesday for everybody else. And then when you guys send me somewhere, I'm going to make that video drop right away as soon as I get back. So it's as close to conditions as possible. And if I kill it and do good, you guys can go try to duplicate. If I just get murdered and don't do too good, you can point and laugh and know what not to do. So we have fun. I make fun of myself here. We don't really care. On Common Sense Fishing, this channel is open, friendly, try to give advice, tips, and tricks. We don't think we know it all. Between me and my friends, we do all right. We go out and we catch fish and have a good time. And I usually have a lot of different people with me, or I'm with other people. So pretty cool channel here. We have a nice mix of fishing videos, tips and tricks videos, whiteboard videos, as well as these live streams. So we hang out, we talk, we chat, we have fun. Sometimes it gets a little personal. Like the other night, my dog got hit by a car. I've talked about other issues and things. We get into some wacky, freaky stuff. Talked about some scary things, mountain lion encounters, crazy fishing trips. The Stainer story, where I was up at Don Pedro and Carrie Stainer basically woke me up. And I was taking a whiz and I seen him and he was going to drop the bodies right near our campsite, but I think I kind of changed his plans. And he asked us for directions, and in the general area of where those were is where he actually dumped two girls, and I believe he had killed a man as well. So pretty crazy stuff I've been through. We've seen a lot on the channel. We talk, we joke, we have a lot of fun. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, smash that subscribe and like. And let's talk fishing. So first, we're going to start with any spawn fishing tips that I can give really quick. I know you may have heard them before, but there might be some new stuff in here, as well as we're going to get into post-spawn, which is probably what everybody on this side of the area wants to hear. If you're in Florida, Texas, or California areas, this will pertain to you. We're already hitting post-spawn. For those of you in other areas, you might be barely getting into spawn. It just depends on the temperature, water, temp, all that good stuff. So that's why tonight we're going to kind of cover both. We'll do spawn and post spawn, and there'll still be some fish on beds. I see my buddies posting all over the internet, and nothing but dinks, 2-pounders and below. Lots of fish, look like they're fun days, great times, but just a ton of males. And this can happen in the summer. And what can happen? Hey, yo, Gerbs, nice to see you on tonight. What can happen is you can kind of get into the addiction of catching fish and spend a little bit too much time hunting down fish, catching little dinks when the monsters are just off. And what's going to happen is these males are going to stay up shallow and guard the fry for like a month or two, because there'll still be small waves of little, not little, but little waves of fish coming up and still spawning late up until probably mid-May or something, early to mid-May. So you might have a couple weeks of actually even still finding a random female on a bed here and there. But mostly you're going to find males waiting on beds for females to come and pick them, and they just never get chose. You should also see males on beds guarding eggs, in which case the female should be nearby. You'll also see males guarding fry, in which case the female's usually nearby. But at a certain point, the females will take off. The males guard the fry. They turn on the fry. They start eating the fry. And that's when all hell breaks loose. Then within a few weeks, a couple months, the females will turn on the fry as well. So, but in between that time, what are they doing, right? So we'll talk about that post-spawn. How I catch them post-spawn is usually going to be 2 to 3 different ways. And a variation of those 2 or 3 different techniques, or let's say presentations. And then spawn, there's many different ways to get them, but I have a few favorites, If I just wanted to catch fish, drop shot's usually a deadly lure. However, I've also found that one of the best lures to use during the spawn is either a Ned rig or a Nico rig. You can use a wacky rig Senko, but what I'd recommend is one of my first spawn tips is when the fish seem to be locked on beds or keyed to an area and to a bed, they become way more inquisitive and aggressive on bait that actually physically touches their bed. So you'll notice a fish's intent and anger, and it's just how it looks at your bait changes dramatically the second that the bait hits the bed. And then if it moves around on the bed like it's alive, it makes that bass pick it up. If it moves around too much or hops off the bed, maybe not. And if it lays there kind of too dead sticky, the bass might inspect it, look at it, and just think, is this like a stick that fell here or what the hell? It might move it out of the way after a minute, because usually they don't want nothing on their bed, but they're going to inspect whatever falls on it or goes near it. And so during the spawn, you'll notice that, you could literally drop a twig on a bed, and basically, eventually, that male, it's his job to get that off the bed. The bed should be clean of nothing but just the hard bottom. So it's, that's why they tear their fins up, fanning the bed, getting all the dust and dirt out. And then more dust and dirt can come. It's got to fan it until the female is ready to lay her eggs. It needs to be a nice, clean bed, right? At which point, once the female has laid her eggs, and right before and all during after that, up until when they hatch, the bass are extremely keyed in on the bottom. So you'll notice if you got 2 guys fishing and one guy's using a drop shot and the bait's suspended, he's gonna get bit, he's gonna catch fish. If someone's on the bottom on the bed, they're gonna get bit more often and quicker with a little bit more aggression, while the bait that's suspended over the bed usually doesn't get hit as hard. And that's, say, something like a Weightless Senko, wacky rig Senko, or a drop shot that's still in the water column, not quite touched the bed yet. And actually, you'll notice sometimes if you're using a drop shot, you might even see the bass pick the weight up and think to yourself, what the hell? Because the bass is keyed in on the bed. and may not even be worried about the little worm presentation. If he sees that big weight dinking around on his bed, he might actually pick the weight up. So you might have seen that. So tip number one would be, okay, try to know what stage of spawn you're in. Pay a little attention. Do you see a ton of fry? Then you know you're in post spawn or late spawn. And then the rules are going to change. We'll talk about that in a second. If you're seeing like a male by itself sitting on the bed, you're probably smack dab in the middle of it. The eggs have either been deposited or they haven't yet. Who knows? You know, you can tell, but you have to look really close and to see the little eggs on the bed. But if the fish are moving around the bed and you don't see any fry and they spook real easy when you get close and then they come back eventually, that's that early stage of spawn. So that's when they're cleaning the bed off, they patrol the area, and then they lock on beds. And then females choose, you know, and pretty much in that order. Then they lay their eggs when they're ready, when everything's right. And then they back off. Male stays and watches. Fry hatch. Male watches fry. And then eventually male turns on fry. And then a bit females will turn on fry once they've grown, but that'll be a summer pattern. Whole different story. We'll talk about that. One of my favorite colors to use in summer can either be a crawdad or a baby bass color. I love baby bass. They definitely eat their own babies. And when the bass get that bluegill size, when they're perfect munching for the bigger fish. When they get too big, the top spine, just like a bluegill, can choke a bass. So they'll still eat a pretty good sized bass, believe it or not. Like there's a video of like an 8 to 12 pound bass or something eating like a 4-pound bass, and it gets the bass all the way down its throat, and there's like this much of the tail sticking out, and the spine gets stuck, and so the bass has to throw the other bass up. And the other bass actually lived and made it through that. Hey, nice to see you on, Marco. So also one of the things about tonight's video, periodically I'm going to drop it and just let you guys know. One of the titles for tonight's video is You Choose Where I Fish. So I'm probably going to be going fishing next week, Monday or Tuesday-ish. I might go for a day. I might go for 2 or 3. We'll see. I haven't been fishing much this week, actually week and a half. I've been doing a lot of work and family stuff. It's been spring break. The kids aren't in school, so I'm enjoying my time with the family, just lounging around the house sometimes, or other, you know, going on some trips, doing some fun stuff with the kids. So next week, I want to go somewhere, and I don't care where. It could be next door to McClure, Don Pedro. It could be up to Clear Lake. It could be down to Lake Success. You guys can stick me in the hardest, most shitty to fish lake that we know of that I can take my boat in. So you got to think about that. And because we're going to do it in the boat, we're not going to shore fish. So you can send me to something like Shaver, Millerton, Pine Flat, Orville, Shasta, fishing bodies of water that are known to have small fish, you know, struggle to catch fish. You can send me to lakes that are got monsters like Lake Eastman, Success, Don Pedro, New Maloney's. Those are local ones. Clear Lake, Berryessa. You know, there's a lot of LBC, Los Banos Creek Reservoir has got some monsters in it, absolute beasts. Sano's, the O'Neill Forebay has some monsters in it, but there's a lot of big striper. It's a big ass lake, and it's kind of dangerous if you don't know where some of the bottoms are real shallow there. It's a real shallow lake. You want to make sure you're not going on a super windy day. You can get swells that'll flip your boat almost there. So pretty nasty water, but pretty much down to go anywhere. So that's one of the points of tonight's video. It's going to be you guys pick and choose. So leave a comment, whatever lake you'd like to see me go, and we're going to try to make that happen early next week. So now back to my tips. So spawn fishing is what we're talking about. We're going to get into post spawn, and in the middle of tonight's video, you know, we're going to kind of try to decide where I'll be going and maybe conversate about that a little bit. And at the end, usually if we make it and we have enough time, we got enough people on here, we'll leave the chat room open and we'll discuss topics you guys want to discuss and have a good time, just, you know, like a community chat before we go for the night. So We like to have a lot of fun here, and you guys know that. Most of you guys are probably longtime viewers or been watching for a while. But if you're new here, thank you so much. I'm glad you found the channel. Smash that subscribe and like button. And a big shout out to all the members and subscribers. Thank you guys very much. So, anyways, back to spawn. So I had left off. We were talking about knowing what stages of spawn you're in, right? So we went over like not pre-spawn but early spawn, where you know the basically I'll reiterate it one more time. Early spawn where they come up, clean off the beds, or patrol the area and kill everything off, move everything off, scare everything off, clean off the beds, sit there, wait for the female. The female comes, she waits till she's ready. They pair up. She does her thing, they do their thing, lay the eggs, and then she backs off. Male guards them, fry hatches. Male guards the fry after guarding the eggs. Then, after he's guarded the fry for a week or two, he'll start eating the fry. Then, after he starts eating them, they'll disperse, they'll move to cover, they'll go deeper, they'll ball up like bait. So, every few feet, there's 100 little or a million little bass fry, and they'll start coalescing into big balls. And the little males will be tearing them up, and then fish will be hiding in cracks and crevices everywhere. But when they start growing up about this big, is when you're going to see the females come out and just start hammering them. Hey, Ray, what's going on? Hey, I got to ask you, brother, what kind of a combo do you want for winning the giveaway last? So you want a bait caster or a spinning combo? You may have answered, but I forgot. So I got to get your combo, and then we're going to get Mike Dozer some LV 500s and a couple other lures. Get him his lure pack. And big shout out. Thank you guys. Both members won last time. So that was sweet. But we do a members giveaway, and then we'll do a subscribers giveaway, and the members get to enter both. So one of the perks of being a member. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. Really helps out a lot. So just let me know. You can send me a message if you want, and then we'll link up and we'll get that to you. So I think this is the second combo you won, unless this is a different Ray, because I had I think Ray Cole, and then Ray, and I don't know if you know different username or not, but he won a baitcaster combo I gave him at McClure. So you know, had a lot of fun on this channel so far. We've given away a lot of different cool stuff, a lot of lures, a couple of fishing rods and reels, and yeah, Lou's Mach 2 reel, and a couple of others. So we've had some nice giveaways here. If we can get to a big enough platform where I'm actually doing okay off this stuff, man, I'd be interested in giving away like a boat or something nice, you know. Just doing some crazy stuff like once a year or something, do like a crazy big giveaway. Because let's just say, because there's guys on YouTube that make like, you know, with 100,000 subs, make like $1,000 a day or so, you know. Make 20-30,000 a month. Yeah, that kind of money, I'd give it back, you know, a little bit would be nice. So one day we can dream, you know, where the grand prize is going to be like a small truck and boat or something, or one year it'll be the boat, one year it'll be the truck. But for the meantime, we do gift cards, you know, lure packs. It's a way of saying thank you to those who really support the channel, because honestly, the giveaways don't draw too many subscribers. It's not like people just sign up because they want to get free crap. And if they do, they unsubscribe down the road. So most of you guys are actual supporters who have been here for a while, and the new ones, thank you guys as well. So it's pretty cool. You know, I just do it to say thank you, because most of you guys stick around for a long time, been around for a while, and, you know, come in, hang out. You make the channel what it is. So super excited to be able to give back. But anyways, back to spawn fishing tips. We were talking about knowing what stage you're in, and there's different lures and different tactics you're going to want to use for the different stages. So we were, for example, talking about the stage where the male's guarding the actual eggs or is sitting waiting for the female to pull up, which is two different stages. During that time, a bottom bouncer is way more productive than a suspended lure, because the bass are zoned in and keyed in on their actual bed. The area around it is equally and vitally important, almost, but they're very much more in tune with whatever's on their bed, actually physically touching it. Next spawn, or if you see some bedders, check it out. Notice that when you move the lure around above the bed, you can get the fish's attention. But when you put the lure on the bed, that's when the bass actually swim up to it and look at it. And then whether it'll bite or not, and these things can be real picky and ornery during spawn, right? So, a couple little tactics. So we'll close out with those periods, and then we'll finish up the spawn. Yeah, I've been at the Delta twice lately. Got a 5 plus, and we've got a couple of threes. Actually, we've got like 3 or 4 3-pounders, 5 plus, and a bunch of like ones and twos. Nothing huge yet. I kind of want to stay away from the main and where all the damn sea lions are at. If they're eating up all the big bass at striper, I don't know. But there hasn't been a lot of monsters for me caught out the Delta lately. Like 7, 8 years ago, I was catching 7, 8 pounders almost every trip. It was insane. It was literally insane. You had a 5 every trip. Every trip you had a 5 pounder. It would be like every 3 trips or so, you would have like a 6 to an 8 or something. It was nuts. It was just so insane. That's when I was started my GoPro and was going to start my channel. It was probably 2012-ish, but I didn't. I actually got a GoPro. I recorded some of that. I've got some 8s and 9s I had on that GoPro, but I lost. Someone stole it actually, and it had the It had the 132 gig full of all my best stuff. I had like really trimmed it down. I was just waiting to upload it. Didn't have a video editing software program. Hadn't pulled the trigger. Was kind of like iffy about should I even do the channel yet. And I really wish I had, because then you guys would have caught all those future Pro Tour wins. You guys would have caught all those different adventures that I've been on over the last 10 years, and I've been fishing much longer, but I've had a real productive last, decade of fishing, like 4 double digits and a ton of, 6 to 9s, 7, 8 pounders, just lots of them. Most of them came from the Delta, but I've had plenty come out of the lakes too. So it's been a great, last so many years, but really I've only been doing the YouTube channel here the last 2 years or so. So looking forward to smashing some more big girls. So I'm going to get out at the Delta more often. I've been there a couple times, launched out of the Lazy M like a week and a half ago. And then before that, it was Russo's. So we were fishing Frank's Track area. That's where I got the 5-pounder. And at the Flying out of the Lazy M is where we got a couple 3-pounders. So Delta's been good. It's just, like I said, I haven't found any monsters this year. It's not yet anyways. It's halfway through almost, or that's what it feels like. It's only a third of the way through. But it feels like when spawn's over, you're like, oh no. Summertime can be one of your best in numbers and size. So that'll be coming up. We'll be talking about that. But for spawn fishing, really quick, we're going to burn through some spawn fishing tips and that way I'm not going over the same stuff over and over. Then we're going to get into post spawn. So early spawn, when the bass are coming up and they're clearing the beds off, you can usually that's usually done in sometime February, mid to late February, and into early March. And during that time, you can use lures like crankbaits, slow roll a spinner bait. You can catch them on jigs. You can catch them on Ned rigs, drop shots, Nico, shaky head. There'll be a lot of different ways. You can even catch them low light early that early in the year with some top water, early in the morning, or late in the afternoon. When it's low light or there's some cloud cover out and it's not too windy, top water in late February, early March will turn on. especially for the pre-spawn mamas that are sitting there waiting on a big meal, just waiting to come up. They love that early top water. Can be some of the big, massive bass that are still haven't spawned yet. That's actually a trick a lot of people don't do, dude, is top water during pre-spawn, and it can work for those big mamas that are cruising, hunting, looking for a big meal. Is Eastman worth fishing? Yes, it is. Eastman is got some good bass in it. They're spawning. The males are on beds, and you can catch 20 to 30 fish a day right now. There's the water levels came up, and the flooded trees are now a few feet underwater in the back. So before it was just a puddle. Now those arms are starting to fill up with water, but it's only going to get so much, and then it's going to start shrinking again. It's going to be a nasty summer. Looks like we're going to be headed for a really bad drought this year. So if I were you guys, I think Don Pedro and Tulic are going to be the two lakes to hit that are going to be safest, that'll have the best fishing for size bass, and that will tolerate the drought. Tulic is below New Maloney, so everything New Maloney's dumps will go into Tulic. So Tulic will not go dangerously low until New Maloney's already has, and they have to stop pumping or very much slow down. And New Maloney's has been kind of low, but it's still got enough room. It might make it through the year and still be all right. But once it gets low enough, it becomes very dangerous when there's a lot of trees out in the middle of the lake, random rock piles that have 40-foot trees that aren't marked, and they're like dead smack in the middle of the lake. There's some brutal stuff out there when the lake level gets low. Lots of big trees that'll start coming out. But I fished it way lower than it is. You just got to be a little ballsy and safe. Don't smash around too much. But Eastman's going to shut down probably by July, I would say, or sometime around there. It's going to get nasty. I don't know how the fishing will be, but I don't think it'll be very good. Clear Lake is so low. They were talking about shutting it down sometime this summer as well. So get your fishing in while you can at any body of water now, because come this summer and early fall, it's going to be slim pickings on what lakes you can go to and safely launch and fish without potentially destroying your boat or having an accident. So everybody be safe out there. First of all, make sure you have your life jackets and use your kill switches, man, because I'd hate to see someone flip their boat or damage themselves or their stuff and not be prepared. So with that being said, I've got a really nice new life jacket that I wear all the time, and I use my kill switch when I'm going, over 30. So, which is most of the time I'm running, I'm going 40 plus. So I have the kill switch in there, so if I go flying out the boat, it's not going to run me over, or the boat won't smash itself into the ground and total itself. It'll kill it, and hopefully it'll be all right. But so anyways, yeah, sorry, we got sidetracked, but don't worry about it. If you guys got a place you want to send me, that's another thing is tonight's video is all going to be about as well, where you want to send me. So if you want to send me to a certain lake, vote what lake you want me to go to. And at the end of the night, the lake that has the most mentions and votes will basically be where I go, and I'll be fishing there next week. I've got a Delta trip right here that I've got to edit for you guys. That'll be coming out soon. And yeah, so now back to the spawn fishing tips. So that early spawn, a late pre-spawn, you can use moving baits. There's a lot of different baits you can get them on. Watch the weather, watch what the water's doing. Don't rule out fishing in a foot or two of water, all the way down to, in those times, don't rule out fishing in about 30 to 50 feet as well. There'll be some big ass fish out there sometimes that just haven't pulled up. So they can be scattered. They can be all over in that late February, early March, when the water's still coldish and it's just starting to warm up. So fish pull up. It's in the mid 50s, something like that, or low 50s. And lakes start to rise. So a lot of different factors: water clarity, how windy it is, how warm it's been lately. So water temp, especially, you can have the water warm up to like 58, 59. in late February, and then have some freak systems come in and push it back down to like 48 to 52. So you can have the water get really close to spawn temps in February. And when that happens, they'll move up, and then the weather systems will come in and out, and the bass will go up and down, up and down. They'll do all this weird stuff. And then the lake level changing. So there's a lot of different factors. So that early spawn stage, don't sleep on reaction baits, is what I'm saying, to catch the big girls. Don't sleep on swim baits, spinner baits, crank baits, top water, jerk baits. And then when you're bottom bouncing, sometimes you have to fish painfully slow, almost a dead stick or a drag. And then sometimes they want it popped and hopped and moved around. But if you're in late February, early March, I suggest starting out with a slow drag. If you are fishing deeper than say 10 feet, 15 feet, fish real slow. There's a lot of fish out there in those depths, especially at places like McClure, Pedro, New Melones. We're catching them in 50, 60 feet all the way into like March. So it was pretty crazy. So they do some weird stuff. Now that stage, after that is when the males start locking on to beds and creating beds. And when that happens, you just have to fish slow with anything that is basically a bottom bouncing bait. And this is where you don't really want to have a reaction, or you don't want to have, you can use reaction, you can trick them, but you don't want a suspended bait, more so like say a drop shot. So you can still get them like this, but this is that stage when the bass become fixated with the actual bed themselves. The male, they come up, they clean off the area, they do their thing, like I said, and then they create their bed and they kind of roam it for a second. They make their bed and then they can move back and forth. They'll swim around it, kind of spooky. If they see you, they'll swim off and then they'll slowly come back. That's that stage where they're not locked yet. So you got to fish real slow, longer casts. Sure, just vote for Pedro then, and we'll see at the end of the night. I'll go wherever. So this is your guys' chance to send me to like Bullard's Bar, Trinity, or if you guys live somewhere like you want to see me like the other guy said, Party. You want to send me at Don Pedro? Great. McClure, wherever. You guys pick, and then I'll go. So whoever gets the most votes, that's where I'll go. And I think this could be an interesting challenge that maybe we'll do like once a month or something like that. And we'll pick we'll do a live stream and we'll have you guys pick a lake. And as long as it's all good in the plans, then basically I'll let you guys send me all around California, and we'll do it once a month. So that means that every year, at least 12 videos will be custom hand-picked by you guys, the viewers, as far as what lake I'm at. And then I either sink or swim. So, and that'll be the good thing, is if you guys decide on a lake and I go and I get skunked or I catch one fish, I'm going to have to post that video. I could go and catch 30 or 40 fish. Of course, I'm going to post that video. But regardless of what happens, I'll let you guys hang out with me for the day and see how it goes. I'll record some banner and talk and hopefully a lot of fish. But if not, you guys will see me get skunked even. I don't care. So I think it's an interesting concept. You guys vote and I go where you send me. So now back to spawn fishing. When the male is kind of skittish, that's when you want to fish past them, fish real slow. Make sure you focus on the bed and then bottom contact with the bed. The fish don't usually want to go chasing anything. They're spooky and scary. You can trick them with some reaction during this time. Get up shallow and work reaction and get them to like have that fight or flight instinct where they're either going to do it or they won't. Hence the name reaction bite. But usually I'm more with the slow finesse, and we do pretty good. Hitting party tomorrow, all glide bait all day for NorCal bass. Heck yeah, dude. Awesome. No limit off-road. Hope you smack them. That's what kind of idea I'm going to be in. So we're going to be talking about post-spawn, late spawn. And right now, I look at all my friends on Facebook. I look at all the videos, and I think about my own fishing adventures, right? And everything shallow right now is small. It's all males. They're all fry garters. There's probably occasionally big females up shallow still. I'm sure there is. I'm not going to say there ain't. But I think most of the females have pulled to that next drop off. They're near the bait, they're near the fry, they're near the whole thing. They haven't pulled off deep, but they're not sitting up there in 1 to 5 feet of water anymore, type of thing. Most of those fish, I think, have pulled off to 8 to 15 or 20 feet even. And that glide bait is going to be a perfect way to catch a lot of the big post spawn mamas. Now, I'm no swim bait pro, but what I do know, see, I fish what I'm comfortable with, right? And what I do know is those post spawn females can be extremely hard to catch, because what usually happens is they pull off and they're usually not on the bottom. They'll sit on the bottom for a day or two when they do that lockjaw crap, when they have just spawned and they pull off and they just kind of like recuperate, and they're like, you just sitting on the bottom and they won't eat nothing almost. You have to like peg them in the head and really piss them off. As soon as they get over that 1 to 2 day stage, it's not long actually. Whenever they get, but people might think it's a week or two or more or whatever. What happens is a lot of the times those post spawn fish just pull out and suspend, and then they start cruising. They start swimming around. They start looking for bait. They start looking for bluegill. They start looking for anything they can eat that's good and big and it's going to sustain them. But they're slow. They're not smashing around too fast. Does anyone fish Modesto Reservoir? You know what? I passed it a bunch of times. I want to fish it, and I'd be down to. I've never fished that place. I have some favorites that I fish, basically McClure, Pedro, New Maloney's, Tulik, the Delta, Eastman. Um, I've been to Pine Flat, a few times, Comanche, Success, right? Shaver now, twice? Or Millerton, sorry, twice. I've been to the Delta, or not the Delta, but Clear Lake, 20, 30 times, or maybe 20, 15, 20 easy. I don't know how much, but I've not been there a bunch. Berryessa, maybe 5 times, 6 times. And then I've been to a bunch of little lakes, on shore. Fished Lexington in the boat. So over by San Jose, Santa Cruz off the 17. Fished a lot of different areas. Los Banos Creek Reservoir. But there's so much more I want to go fish. Almador, I fished. I fished a lot of the lakes, but I haven't fished Pardee. I haven't fished Woodward. I haven't fished Modesto Reservoir. I fished Shasta. I fished Oroville. I fished Bullard's Bar. I haven't fished Trinity. I haven't fished Scotts Valley Reservoir. I haven't fished Almanor. And I haven't fished Success. And I don't believe I've fished Shaver. And I haven't fished Hogan either. So those are the lakes that I'm interested in fishing that I haven't fished yet. But I'm also cool with going wherever you guys want to send me. So you can vote, send me wherever. You can send me to McClure, where I go all the time. Send me to the Delta. Send me to Clear Lake. That'd be fun. I don't care, just wherever. And the idea is going to be once a month. I think I'm going to pick a lake, or not pick a lake, but we're going to have a video. And in that video, we'll have an event similar to this where everybody votes. And I just go wherever you guys send me. So, and I'd be interested to actually fish more places I haven't fished, but I can also do that in my free time. So if you guys choose to send me to Timbuktu, I can go wherever on my other trips. So I'm going to try to bring you guys some new flavor this year, some change, some fun, new adventures, new lakes, new water, cover stuff. You get new viewers that way too, by fishing new bodies of water, people that usually fish those bodies of water and would appreciate at least some starter information. Because even if you're really good at fishing, simply knowing that, okay, these guys are going out there and maybe I could catch 20, 30, 40 fish, but I see their video, they're catching only 4 or 5 fish or 10 fish, and they're fishing like this. So you can either say, hey, if I'm not catching nothing, I could try what they're doing and that helps me, or I could try doing something else, right? You can watch it and either pick up good or negative as far as what they may have done wrong, what they may have done right. Same thing with my videos. So I go to the Delta, maybe I catch 1 3-pounder and a bunch of dinks. So what did I do wrong? Pay attention in the video. Where was I pulling them out of and fishing? And then you can use that as a starter point to say, I'm going to do something different, or I like what you're doing and I'm going to do that. So it's kind of like a fishing report, at least gives you an idea. And then if you're skilled, you go out there and you just figure them out. But it's a nice little thing to have that, hey, people were catching them like this. And now when you do it on YouTube, you have video evidence. So it's not doc talk. It's actual legit, hey, this guy caught him like this and like that. And I try to put out the videos soon after I go so that they're relative. I don't like to hang on to them too long, but sometimes I get caught up and I might sit on a video for a week or two. Usually it comes out within a day to 3 days. And that's how I try to pump out the content. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do the live streams here. We talk about all kinds of stuff. So, what was I going to say? All right, so back to the spawn fishing, and then we'll get into post spawn. So with spawn fishing, again, there's those multiple different stages. Now, when the eggs are there, that's going to be very similar to when the bass is locked on the bed, but there's no eggs there, or even when the bass is finicky. The bass is going to care more about bottom contact with the bed than it is the area. So you can still catch them with something like a drop shot, even a crankbait or something, moving real slow. You might get that bass to trigger them to bite. You can use, whatever you want, but what's going to have the most impact during when the eggs are there and when the male is waiting for the female to pull up is anything that physically gets on the bed and actually touches the bottom. Then you're going to upset that male a lot more. But you guys are here just like me for the females, right? We don't want to catch those little dink males. I mean, hey, they're fun. Those are for the kids. But we want to catch the big female. So always remember that the female are usually behind the males just a certain amount during this whole process. They're in the same position they'd be in post spawn dang there when they're in pre-spawn or like early spawn when they're waiting. And the males are all up shallow and you fish all over shallow and all you catch is 1 to 2 pounders. What the heck? Well, those, 3, 4, 5, the females, all the bigger fish are out just a little bit deeper, waiting to move up. They're not in 100 feet of water. They're not in 40 feet of water. They're in, 6 to 10, 12 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet at most. And they're sitting there ready to move up. And so when they're done doing their thing, they'll pull right back off into that same spot. And when they're ready to move up, usually that's when they're just kind of really cruising and just chilling and taking their time. They're skittish and kind of spooky. Hard to catch them. Weightless Senkos work good. Again, like reaction baits work good because they're not on the bottom a lot in pre-spawn or early. The females might be, but a lot of time they're kind of cruising and moving around looking for males in beds, right? And then when they found them and figure out what area, what males are going to mate with, then they'll pull up and they'll sit there at that right just a few feet away from the bed until they're ready to spawn. Then they'll pull up and they'll actually do their thing. And then they'll pull off and they'll do the same thing kind of in reverse. So when this is going on, the males are extremely pissed off about anything that touches the bed. The females, on the other hand, can be kind of lockjawish, can be hard to catch. You can catch them one of either two ways. Ultra slow, finesse something going real slow and taking its time with some occasional wiggles or pops to get its attention or to just make it bite, or something reaction, a spinnerbait, a crankbait, something that just tempts that big mama. And the same thing's going to be true, but a little bit in reverse for post spawn. So now, or let's talk about late spawn. So now late spawn. Now the fry have hatched, right? So we talked about the eggs on the beds, all that stuff. So when the fry hatch, the males, they guard the fry. So now the fry are swimming around. So now the males are up in the same kind of water column that the females are in. So if you're bottom bouncing and you're not near those fry, that male might pick up your lure, but it might not care about it. But if you're fishing in 2, 3, 5 feet of water and you got your drop shot coming around with your 12-inch, 18-inch, 10-inch, whatever leader, and your drop shot worm is right below or in the school, that bass is going to hammer it. That's where a weightless Senko, a wacky rig Senko, and a drop shot can really shine as well as the other lures can too. But even a crankbait, spinnerbait, anything moving through the school of fry at a slow enough rate to where the bass can get to it. I mean, they can get it if it's moving fast, but you got to remember they're not going to dart after something and leave their fry. Usually, they will sometimes, but in general, they're there to protect the fry. So your lure has to be in the vicinity and in those fry, which is when like things like the drop shot, the weightless Senko, wacky rig Senko can really come in and do some damage. But again, you're dealing with the 1 to 2 pound males, right? So how do you catch those big females? So when those big females is technically kind of post spawn for them, but the whole spawn thing's still going on, the fryer right there. Well, the bluegill come up to spawn next, so they'll be looking for something like that. They'll be looking for a big meal, something easy target, so you can catch them with finesse if they happen to be on the bottom. But that's when they're usually the hardest, lockjaw. Now, when they pull up and they start cruising and swimming around, then is the time to use something like a crankbait, spinnerbait, jerkbait, or a lot of the times too with those lures, you may notice you see some big cruisers, you cast past them and you bring your lure in and they'll either follow it and then see you and get spooked, or they'll see the lure and just get spooked right away. If that's the case, that's when a weightless Senko is hands down one of the easiest ways to catch bass during the middle of spawn and late spawn and post spawn to catch the bigger females. Because all throughout the month of, say, March and April and early and May, depending on the waves and what's going on, the whole shoreline is just stacked with little males from 8 inches to 2 pounds, right? Just millions and millions or thousands, whatever, of males just all throughout the lake, right up shallow. And then in that, or also a few feet off, obviously, right down to 3 to 5 feet or whatever, maybe even a little deeper. But as soon as you get to that area where the water starts becoming murky and it becomes harder and harder to see the bottom, you have less light infiltration. That's where the big pre-spawn or post-spawn mamas are going to be. And they'll be a lot of time cruising. So you may even see them near the top of the water, or you may see them down there just moving against the shore. It's hard to spot them, but you can see them. And then even if not, when they get out there enough, your fish finder will see them, and you'll see these suspended fish moving around. And those are the ones you want to target. Those are the post-spawn big females. Those are the tournament winners. Those are the big fish. Those are the ones you're going to have a hard time catching, but you might catch 40 1 to 2 pounders fishing shallow. But if you focus on fishing 8 to 20, 25 feet deep, and you use things like a weightless Senko, use your electronics to hone in on what water column depth they're in and where they're at, so you don't needlessly fish too long. That weightless Senko with the occasional jerk, like a soft jerk bait, whenever you pop it, the weightless Senko goes flying. And then when you let it die, it just slowly dies again. Or the wacky rig weightless Senko, those can be deadly, deadly post spawn techniques. Now, if the bass are on the bottom, you can catch them. The females, you can catch them with a lot of different stuff. Ned rigs, Texas rig is a good way. You should fish the windy Wednesday nighters in the Delta in summer. Oh, I'm really interested in doing a few this year. I think, I fished one or two of them in my life. I fished it with this guy named Terry. He has a red Ranger or something, real old guy. His long hair kind of, and he's real gruff. He's a cool dude, but he's, real ornery. And anyways, I fished, I think, one or two with him. And I'm interested in fishing the windy Wednesday nighters and getting some light set up, and doing some stuff like that. I want to fish the NorCal. I'm in with the NorCal Bass Club too, but I haven't fished any of their tournaments since success. I have tournament issues right now because I got to fix my live well again. So for like the third time, but I'm going to do a test run. So wherever I go, I think I've got my live well issue figured out. So I'm going to do a test run this next week. So everybody's pretty much going to vote where they want to send me to go fish. And wherever gets the most votes, that's where I'm going to go. I'll do the test run there, do a video. You guys will see all that. And then I'll know if I can get back into tournaments. If so, I'll be excited to jump back into them. I do heating and air conditioning, the Ear Doctor heating and air. So during the summertime, I love to fish, but it can get hectic. You know, I can get real busy because I got to make the money, right? But with that being said, this summer and every summer, I get really big into night fishing. So I'm going to try to put some LED lights in the boat. I'm going to try to get a couple of light setups for the back, maybe even for the front, to illuminate enough of the boat to do some night videos with my GoPro. I might even look into a camera that's actually got capabilities of some, not really night vision, but better night vision than the GoPro has, let's say, as far as with low light conditions. And try to go out there and really smash some monsters with the crankbaits and with the jigs this year, and with some top water. Those are going to be my three go-tos, or with the spinner bait, a crankbait, top water, and a jig. And this summer, I'm just going to be smashing around, covering shoreline, just trying to destroy these guys and have fun. That's when I catch a lot of my big ones. Big numbers days are in the summer, and monster fish in the summer at night. During the daytime, it can be a whole different story. You can go in during the daytime and on one day struggle to catch 10 fish. And on that very same day, you might catch 25, 30 fish at night, and they're going to be all much bigger fish. So it's pretty awesome. Night fishing's really my gig. So someone's at the door. But anyways, so yeah, post spawn. So now we're talking post spawn. Post spawn, the males are going to be turning on the fry. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be all over the place. Now they'll start scattering the fry out into the open water and down deep as well. But so you can fish anywhere from 35 feet, 40 feet, all the way up to shoreline. And there'll be a lot of suspended bass that are eating the fry. Anything that falls through them, through the school of fry, through the bass that are eating stuff, they're going to go hit at it. There'll be, we had 130 fish day at McClure 2 years ago, right during post spawn, early summer. And just throwing Ned rigs up at the shoreline, basically. Ned rig. And we would even toss it out over 60 feet of water, and we were having bass pick it up and start swimming off with it halfway down. And we'd do that in 10, 20 feet of water, same thing, right up in 3 feet of water. They were just everywhere. They stacked up in Arnold Bay. They like to push the fry, the males will, into areas where they can kind of corral them and just gorge on them, once they turn on them. So look to creek arms and coves and cuts off the lake, not main lake points. You're going to want to stay in little coves and cuts and inlets. Maybe not, they don't have to go super far back like a creek arm, although creek arms should have a lot of spawning fish in them anyways. And so go to the spawning flats and then find little cuts and coves and just small little pockets where the bass can push a big, nice little school of fry there and keep them punked, and they will. And you should find plenty of males in the area, and they'll be pretty dang active. You can catch them on a lot of different stuff, but you can bottom bounce and whatever and catch 100 fish a day. Certain reaction, we've had 100 fish a day with my son Tyler there with the square bill, where we just covered water through a square bill all day. And my arms were killing me by the end of the day. Biggest fish of the day was 4 pounds. It was at Lake McClure, and we had over 100 fish on a square bill. So very similar time of year and similar and completely different tactics. They're just a lot more aggressive. And at that time, that's when that weightless Senko still get hit by some males, but it's when you're going to have more luck getting the females with that. Yeah, the weather's looking good next week in the 80s. So that's where I'm looking at a trip probably Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. It just depends on work and if what kind of work I have come in. If I don't have any work, I don't know about Monday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, because I like to look at it like I know there's the weekend warriors. See, since I own my own business, I work for myself. I know lots of guys go out fishing on the weekend, right? So Saturday, Sunday, I know the lake's going to be full of party boats and fishermen and tournaments. Monday, you might have the retired guys that decided they were going to camp Saturday or Sunday or whatever they were camping the weekend, and then they can stay Monday. But usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those 3 days, the lake is the most dead. There's the least amount of traffic, the least amount of party boats. There's no tournaments, and the bass fishermen are usually off the lake. So I prefer to fish those 3 days. I'll fish all three in a row. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my favorite fishing days. I've got a double digit out of McClure F&F Outdoors. McClure's got a lot of numbers, a lot of small fish, and there's some monsters there too, some absolute giants. They're just really hard to catch at McClure. McClure is known for having numbers, not really as many as size, but there'll be times that lake will surprise you. Like my if you go to my channel and you click on my face, the main video that pops up is a 10 pound and some 10 pound 6 ounce that I caught out of McClure on a jig. Don Pedro, I've also got a double digit out of, and that came on a crankbait. And then my other double digits have came earlier before I was doing my YouTube stuff. So I've got some like eights and some sixes and stuff like that. We've got an eight or no, a 9 pounder and a 10 pounder out of McClure. We've got a 10 and a couple eights out of Pedro. And we've got an eight, no, a 7 and some change out of Eastman, and a 7 and some change out of the Delta, along with quite a few 5s and 6s. And then we've got, and this is all on video, a 9 out of Kelsey, along with thousands of 5 pounders and 4 pounders out of there. So we've got some decent fish. Clear Lake, we've busted a bunch of 5s, but I don't got anything bigger than that this last few years because I just started my YouTube channel last 2 years. Been all over the place. So in the last 2 years, I've got 2 double digits and quite a few like decent ones, but they come far and few in between because I get so worried about catching fish. I put a lot of 2 pound fish in the belt in the bag because I'm worried more about, okay, if I'm gonna go shoot a video, because I'm not rich, man. I struggle sometimes, and YouTube don't pay a lot, right? Especially when you're low channel. So when you get up there, maybe, but right now I don't get paid doing this. So just to produce enough content to keep the channel growing, you're talking, I was pumping out 6 to 10 fishing videos a month. You're looking at $1,000 to $1,500 in gas and entry alone right there just to shoot those videos. And so I get all mind screwed where if I'm spending money and time to go do a video, I want to make sure that I have fish for you guys to see. And then I get stuck throwing things more like a drop shot, a Ned rig, Nico rig, when I want to throw things like a swim bait, crankbait, spinner bait, top water, jerk bait, stuff like that. And that's my old school way that I've always fished. But with the YouTube channel, it's kind of pushed me more into numbers over size. So I know how to do both, but I can shut up and put my money where my mouth is and catch them sometimes. Usually I make dumb mistakes in tournaments lately. And, with the videos, we've been doing all right, but I'd rather focus on more videos that have, 4 or 5 fish in them, but at least have every video have 1 5+ pounder in it, damn near. That would be awesome. Instead of like, a video with 21 to 2 or 3 pounders, great. But I think so. I'm going to try power fishing a lot more this year. That's going to be one of my big go-to goals. Swim bait fishing, so stuff like that, and that's a great way to catch them. Speaking of post spawn, so post spawn, slow rolling, um, deep diving crankbaits, spinner baits, uh, jerk baits can catch them. Um, A rigs, stuff like that, big swim baits. But if they're not in a feeding mood and they're cruising, because this is going to be when they're kind of hard to catch because they're cruising. So you got to get dialed in on your fish finder, find out what water column they're in, and then start, fishing ahead of the boat or behind the boat in that water column, and you'll get them. So, but the last ditch effort, what I'll pull out is a weightless Senko. A weightless Senko takes a lot of patience to fish, especially if you're fishing it over 30 feet of water, but it pays off, especially if you really just need those 5 good bites. It may not be 10 pounders, but they're usually going to be 2, 3, 4 pound fish. Well, everybody's catching 1 to 2 pound males. Oh yeah, thank you very much, F&F Outdoors. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm 40, about to be 41. Been fishing since I was about, 12 or 13. Bass fishing since around then, maybe 15. I've got really hardcore into it. And from 15 to about 28, 26, I was a hardcore power fisherman. Nothing but spinner baits, crankbaits, top waters, jerk baits. Um, Pretty much it. If I threw a bottom bouncer, it was a Texas rig all the time. Texas rig. That's my favorite thing to fish. Then I picked up a swing head, like a U head, and a couple other techniques. Of course, I used to fish the banjo minnow and the flying lure. But I was more of a power fisherman, and I did that. And I figured out when my buddies, when it's middle of winter and I'm sitting here chucking a spinner bait and crankbait, and my buddies are laughing at me, you're never going to catch one like that. One of two things would happen. Either A, they would catch more fish than me, but I would catch the hog or the freak or the big fish, or um, I would figure out how to use those power lures in a finesse way, just like crawl a crankbait instead of reeling it really fast. Take a spinner bait and I would use it like a chatterbait or a jig kind of. I'd toss it out into 40, 50 feet of water and let it sink all the way to the bottom. And then I'll yo-yo that thing and jig it in. And I still catch big fish like that. And yeah, I'll catch less fish than the guy throwing the little worm out there, but I'll catch the 3 to 5 pounders, and they're catching 1 to 2s. And it used to happen like that all the time until two things happened. I started tournament fishing, so I needed to really pick up and get better at just putting fish in the live well, and that meant finesse fishing because a lot of the times we're bottom bouncing and we're needing to catch fish. And then if I'm I started out in the back of someone's boat. So if I'm in the back of someone's boat and they're in the front, I definitely can't be throwing around this big old clanky spinner bait or crankbait while they're trying to like sit in place offshore and bottom bounce in 20 to 50, 60 feet. Right. So I had to learn those techniques. And then I was pretty good at switching back and forth between the two. But then the YouTube channel came and it was more like catching fish over catching big ones became priority. And so that's just, I've kind of self-evaluated. That's one of my weaknesses. I mean, it's a positive that I know how to use all the different techniques now, but it's a negative that I put myself in a shoebox and I get frustrated instead of looking at it like, look, I'd rather put out a 5 or 10 minute video with me talking for like a few minutes with some casts, beautiful scenery, stuff like that, and have 1 5 pounder and maybe a dink or two in the video, than have a 20-minute video of nothing but 1 to 2 pounders. Look, catching another one. See you on the next fish. Look, catching another one. See, so I want to try to avoid that. And I think that it's better for the channel and the community as well, because I can show you how to catch 40, 50, 60 fish a day certain times of the year. But I really want to show you guys how to be confident and catch monsters and medium and big size fish more often. And that's actually a skill I'm really good at, but I I've been lacking on it, throwing too much damn worms. Now, look, with that being said, you can catch monsters on worms too. I don't have the high end fishing gear though, as far as fish finders, so I can't see these fish with live scope and know which ones are big or small. I don't have all these fancy graphs on the front. My front of my boat don't even have a graph. I have one on the back because I have an old spot lock, a Tarova it rips any transducer cord I try to run, it rips it in half. So I have to have like a special setup made just for it, or I just don't use one. And then I have the one in the back that goes through the hole that I can use, and then I just spin the fish finder around, and I just know what's behind me. So there's still some challenges, but with that being said, when you're power fishing, a lot of the time too, you don't even need your fish finder. You just should know, oh, especially when you get good at it, like where fish will set up for power fishing. Big boulders, trees, laydowns, points, anywhere that gives structure for a bass to kind of hide and ambush something. Rock walls, piers, buoys, docks, anything, houseboats you can run your lures along. All parallel fishing. No casting. Say this is the shoreline and this is your boat. You don't power fish at the shore and then back at you. When you power fish, you pull your boat in and then you fish. If you're fishing shallow, you fish like that. If you're fishing like a deep diving crankbait, pull your boat over 20, 30 feet of water and you still fish like this. You don't ever power fish like this. And if you do, hey, great. But my advice and tips would be like, get away from doing that. You'll catch so much more fish if you power fish parallel. Power fishing and parallel go together perfectly. This is more of a bottom bouncing technique when you've got a bottom and you're casting up there and you're bringing your lure down it, right? You're not going to take in where it drops down to 30, 40 feet of water and throw your square bill like that, are you? And all the fish are down here. Throw that and throw your spinner bait like this. Doesn't make much sense. But if you can pull up and run your bait right next alongside that shoreline or structure or whatever have you, that's what you want to do. That's power fishing 101. So, I think what we're going to do too is the next couple of videos. I've been doing a lot of finesse fishing videos. During the summertime, I do some power fishing videos, but we're going to do some more power fishing stuff. And I'm going to have to put my money where my mouth is and do some more swim bait fishing before I start trying to give you guys too many swim bait tips and tricks. I'll take pointers from much more experienced swim bait anglers like No Limit Off-Road and a bunch of other guys that I know and some friends around here. I'll defer to people that actually chuck the swim baits more often on what gear, what line. And then from there, I'll go make my own decisions. I'll go get some stuff. I'll get some swim baits. So I already have a few, and I already have one rod that's okay. But I'll go pick up some specific stuff. And I'm going to start throwing swim baits more. But when I mean power fishing, I mean stuff like crankbaits, spinner baits, top water, jerk baits, LV 500s, jigs, heavier, faster, bigger lures, more of a reaction bite, less of a finesse. Where swim bait fishing can almost be a finesse tactic, right? So, oh shoot! Oh, she brought me this. Look at hell yeah! That's the wife for you. Awesome. Love you, babe.
Love you.
So, yeah, Hogan. Nice. I like to fish Hogan. I've heard about it. I'd like to go out there and have my chance at a 40-pound, 30-pound striper as well as a double-digit bass. And the cool thing is you can catch both giant striper and giant bass with similar lures, with top waters, with jerk baits, and with crankbaits and spinner baits. You can catch both monster bass and monster striper. The difference is sometimes the monster stripers will be in different water than the bass are in, running in giant schools. They're harder to for me, because I don't striper fish as much. They're harder to pinpoint, but when you do and you find them, man, they're so fun to catch. One time when I was younger, we were catching 20 and 30 pound stripers every cast in the O'Neill forebay in this walk across the dam area or whatever the spillways, and you go around the little fence, and then you walk around the point and you head back. There's a big cove back there, and it's shallow, super far out. And we'd walk up to the water was like to this, and take our poles and cast, with our elbows down there in the water, and just be like this, using, and then just boom, big old fish. Oh, it was so awesome. They straighten our hooks, snap our braid, even break our lures, even snap pull the screw out of the lure. You just reel in a screw. So much fun times out there. So I would be really down with going to Hogan. So we got to vote for Hogan. We got to vote for Pardee. We got to vote for Don Pedro. And I can count F&F Outdoors as maybe fishing Modesto Reservoir. So kind of we got one vote for each spot. So if you guys want, we need a tiebreaker. So I'm going to smack this beer open here. I'm going to smack it open. And then if you guys get a chance, let me know before it gets too late here, because we're already almost at 9 o'clock. So if you guys have a specific spot you want to send me to, make sure you guys leave a comment. Oh, and smallies, bro. There's good smallies in there. Nice. New Hogan. All right. So we have 2 for New Hogan. All right. So that's so far New Hogan is winning then. That'll be interesting. I'll be more than happy to go try to smash them out there. I'll figure them out. +1 on Hogan. All right, sweet. So we've got 3 for Hogan. So I think Hogan's going to be the winner. And I'll pull it up right now and we'll discuss it a little bit. So let me pull it up on Google Earth. And I'll give you guys my 2 cents. And then I'll go fish it, right? And what we can do is on my next live stream after I fish it, we can discuss some things. And one thing we'd want to discuss is, did I stick to my plan? Because one of my biggest pet peeves on myself could be that I will make this high-end, high-tech plan or figure everything out, and then come day I show up, I just start fishing. It's like almost like drugs, right? Where I'm so addicted to fishing that what I do is I basically, as soon as I get on the water, I just can't help myself and I just start fishing. And that's all I want to do. All right, so Hogan. So there's Moniz, there's Pardee, there's Comanche. Is this one Hogan? There's New Hogan. So it's before Pardee and Comanche. Nice. So this should be going out there like I'm going out to Valley Springs. Yep. So if I was looking at New Hogan Dam Disc Golf Course, there's the dam right there. So right off the bat, I mean, kind of like the way this arm looks. It's right off the dam that goes to the left, right past the Hogan Reservoir Boat Ramp and New Hogan Dam Disc Golf Course. So basically, if Hogan Reservoir Boat Ramp, if I just launched and turned to the right, I'd try checking in there. It looks like a nice big spawning flat, and it's a cove. So it looks like there's the post spawn should be good in there. Now, the other thing I do is probably head up river here, and I see some islands midway up the river. I don't know if they have any structure on them. So far, looking from the sky, Hogan appears to not have a lot of structure on the shoreline. It doesn't look very rocky. It looks kind of dirty, like it's just like a hard bottom, red clay type stuff. I don't see trees or boulders really anywhere. So let's go find some different shoreline. Calaveras River runs in at the top. And you see all the boats. Wow. I go up to the Calaveras River. I see basically everyone right now. On when I'm looking at Google Earth, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boats are one little area like this. So crazy. So that looks like I'd probably run up there and check upriver, by where the river comes in. And then right after where the river comes in, there's a island I'd probably go offshore. So the way Hogan looks to me, I would probably do a lot of offshore fishing there, if I was out to just catch fish. Being that I've never been there before, there's a couple main lake points that look okay, but this time of year, I would probably head up into the river arm and power fish around those rocks and that rock wall there. I would bring myself down from there. There's an island on the right hand side and a little arm I might check out. If that's not any good, I would shoot down probably towards Haupt Creek right here and head into the back where the two arms sort of kind of splits like this and fish that. But if I'm looking for big fish and I'm trying to get like, oh, there's some wood in the water back there too. Nice. And Haupt. So Haupt has a couple trees back there. Let's see here. Nothing in those arms. Kind of dead water. So Haupt looks like one of the best arms so far. Ooh, there's some nice chunk rock on this arm all by itself. Oh, I definitely have some ideas of where I would fish now. So if Hogan wins, um, these arms aren't really named good. Right across from Haupt Creek, there's a point that's got some chunky big boulders on it. Looks really nice. So I've just cruised the shoreline, and what I'd recommend to you guys, and what I'm going to do is be looking for transitions, be looking for rock, riprap like type bouldery rock. There's a couple of arms that have some that I'm looking for, and I'd fish deeper off of that for smallmouth, and I would fish shallower on that for largemouth or striper probably. Out in the middle of the lake might hold some good fish too. I'm assuming the stripers probably run out there more often. Not too sure, but looks like it was a windy day. You can see a lot of ripples and waves on the lake. Sorry, guys, bear with me. You can see here that a lot of the lake just looks like plain shoreline, so I can understand why you guys might have a hard time fishing it if you do, unless it's killer, and maybe I'm just overthinking it. Damn, it looks like there's Party Cove over here. There's a bunch of cars pulled up in this cove, and there's a bunch of boats that are like pulling up. And that actually looks like a nice, the Fiddle Neck Day Use area. That shoreline looks like what you'd want to fish. And then right up above Fiddle Neck, where there's another day use area. Yeah, those look like the two best shorelines on the western side. And then down here, like I was saying originally, right by the dam, down by the dam, it looks like there's some rock. It looks like you have some nice structure. There's a really long arm that sticks out way out into the lake. I'd definitely be checking those two out. So I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing right now. But anyways, yeah, Hogan probably be. Looks like you guys won with the Hogan. So let's see here. Here, let's see here. Yeah, shallow flats that go way out. See, look, I was using my computer, so I couldn't see your comments, and I was telling you guys where I want to fish. Was that if? This looks real old though. That don't mean it doesn't. Fun fishing is brought to you by Fisherman's Warehouse. Double X tackle. So I don't want to get. I don't want to get. What do you call it? copyright strike. But yeah, I'll watch the video. Appreciate it, Big Bass King. So it looks like New Hogan is where I'm going to be going. So we're going to go out there. Looks like a challenge. It looks like it's going to be fun. There's not a lot of stuff to get snagged on, so I'm probably going to use some open hook lures. If I'm power fishing, I'm going to use a crankbait up shallow on the rocks. Otherwise, I'll probably throw a spinner bait, and I'll be looking for suspended fish or fish out offshore just a bit, probably in the 10 to 20 range. Um, I'll throw jigs up shallow and work them down. If I'm not getting bit, I'll switch over to something like a Ned rig or a Nico rig and finesse fish it. I'll try shallow for some males if I have to, just to kind of get confident that I can catch a couple fish there. But I'd probably turn my attention to looking offshore for some fish that I can throw a spinnerbait at. I've got to be aware that there's striper in the lake, so I've got to try to watch my signatures and make sure I don't chase the wrong fish. I'm looking at fishing down by the dam and in a couple of arms on the west side, all the way upriver, and then the point on the right hand side of the lake that's all sandy and hard bottom dirt, and then right at the tip is just some nice massive rocks, and it's only in one spot, and you can see the shoreline this way and that way. It doesn't have it. That's all exactly what I would be looking for, and I could probably fish those chunk rock of multiple different ways with crankbaits and spinner baits and things up shallow and parallel, like I would fish the delta. Then once I've done that, I'd pull out, and then I can throw things like a jig or a bottom bouncer at it to fish all the way into like 30 or 40. And if there's a lot of smallmouth there, I'm probably going to want to fish as deep as about 40 feet deep right now. Maybe as shallow as 15 for them. Depends on what's going on. If they've already post-spawned it, they'll be back to their deep water haunts, which they should be off some real small rock bottom out deep, or either sandy bottom out deep. And they do like to hang out long tapering points, and they'll be on like islands and stuff usually. So weird stuff, hard to catch, not usually the easiest fish to target, but I'm okay. I've caught some smallmouth in my time, but mostly at places like Tulik and back in the days, McClure and Pedro, especially over by the graveyard area, done okay with some smallmouth in the mid lake as well. Fishing really deep is usually how I get them. So striper tacos, you can keep any size striper and as many as you want. Nice. So I'll probably bring some striper home, put them in the freezer in case we hit any food shortages or any crazy end of the world stuff, right? With World War III looming ahead, looking with food shortages, inflation, and the world looking like it's going to hell in a handbag. Why not? Let's keep some striper, make some fish taco. But I'm going to be targeting bass, so we'll see if we can catch some nice smallmouth and some good largemouth out of there. I've looked on the Google Earth, so I already have some points in mind. It just really depends on how low the lake is when I get there. So I'll figure it out on the fly, but I've already got a couple spots I want to go check in at. So New Hogan it is, and I'll probably be fishing it Tuesday. So you guys can look to see that video next Wednesday or Thursday probably, because I'm going to want to get that video out as soon as possible to help you guys who fish Hogan. Why is Maloney so much better than Pedro and McClure? Because of the wood. There's way more wood in Maloney's. It gives way more structure for these big fish, and they're harder to catch. They can, when they get hooked, they can run you into the trees. They're a lot of the wood is where the bait fish will accumulate, and sometimes when the trees are 60 feet deep, the top of the tree might be 20 feet from the top of the water, right? And you may be fishing all over the lake struggling, but the fish may be in the 20-foot zone, but instead of being 20 feet from shore, they're 20 feet underwater in the tips of these trees. And then as winter or summer comes, they might be down 50, 60, 70 feet in these trees. The bait fish hold on to the trees a lot. It just makes the fish harder to target in the trees, harder to pull out, harder to catch, and it gives them just much more. I would say much more of a safety environment to grow and grow good. And there's a healthy population of largemouth. I also think that the new Maloney's is less fished out for food. So not trying to attack anybody here, but a lot of people will go to Pedro or McClure and will fish with live crawdads or minnows. You know, the Asians do it a lot, but I know plenty of white guys that do it too. And they go out there specifically for food, and they'll go with 5 to 10 people, and they can legally keep each, 5 fish. They might go pull anywhere from 20 to 50 fish out of the lake on a day, and eat them. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's their right. But when you're closer to the cities like Merced, Modesto, stuff like that. I mean, New Melones is close to Modesto, but usually they'll hit Don Pedro first. So guys will go up there and they'll fish those lakes out to eat, right? Especially at McClure, and they'll use live minnows, they'll use crawdads. So there's less fish, I think, kept out of New Melones because it's more higher in the mountains. It has more of a bass fisherman people going to it that don't fish for food, while the lower elevation lakes that are closer to cities have more people that actually fish for food out of them. I think it's multiple different reasons, but I think the biggest one is the wood. Second biggest is it being farther away. It probably gets a little less traffic, than McClure and Pedro from the normies. And then what traffic it does get is more bass fishing orientated, where they release the fish, if that makes sense. So that's why I would assume that Maloney's is a much better lake. Um, Really, that's it in a nutshell, I think. I think that's why Eastman, was an Army Corps engineer lake. It was shut down for 10 years or some insane time. You couldn't even fish it. And had nothing but monster largemouth when it opened, double digits galore. Everybody catching double digits out of Eastman. And over the years, because they're stupid, in my opinion, they should have made the limit. You can't keep anything bigger than 17 inches or something. And then you can only keep them when they're 14 to 18 inches, let's say. So you're keeping 2 and 3 pound bass, but making the limit 21 inches, then when someone can keep a bass legally there, they're keeping the double digits. They're keeping the 8 pounders, the 10 pounders. It's the stupidest fucking rule I've ever seen. Sorry about my language, but that Eastman rule of man, I'm not fishing game or a fish biologist, but I don't think it takes rocket scientists to figure out that if the limit at the lake, if you say that you can only keep 8 pound and up fish, then people are only going to keep 8 pound and up fish. Then your damn lake's going to be full of dinks. And then what happens is when it's full of dinks and they spawn every year, right? They make more dinks. They don't make of the monster fish. That's one. Two is the monster fish don't eat the little fry. The baby bass do. The 1 and 2 pounder bass do. Not the monsters. The monsters eat bluegill and the other bigger bass and other stuff, right? So why not have a lake full of nothing but 10 pounders constantly spawning and making, and then some, a good population of medium and small bass, but lots of big ones. And then you let the people keep the dinks. People should be eating the 1 to 2 pounders. Those are the healthiest fish to eat. Less likely to have worms or disease or bacteria. The meat is more tender and is healthier and tastes better. While a big old bass has this thick, or not thick, but has like a really fishy, just not good tasting meat. It's just not rocket science. It's common sense. What the hell? So what did you think was going to happen when you set the limit at 21 inches? I mean, literally, I get angry thinking about it. That's why I think Eastman has gone to shit. Be very honest. Eastman's gone to shit because the damn lake lowers too much, but they had a 21-inch keeper limit. So every time someone goes out there wanting to fish for food and they stick a double digit, they're taking it home. And so that's just sickening. That made me real angry just thinking about that. I'm not no fish god or fish pro, but I think that if people keep fish, it should be between 12 and 16 inches. I know that's the perfect size to spawn, but come on now. Do you think people are going to eat every spawning fish in the lake? No, you're going to have a much more higher end lake that way. And then here's the other deal. If you remove a bunch of the 1 to 2 pounders that eat the fry, then more of those fry will grow up to be more 1 and 2 pounders. So you'll still have a steady supply of fish to eat while your lake has monster bass in it. I mean, it just doesn't it make sense? I don't know. It's just me. So watch showing your spots. There are bass ninjas poaching bass to sell. Oh, they've been doing that for back in the days. Matter of fact, I knew one of them bass ninjas. I knew a guy who would go to the Windy Wednesday Nighters, and he would sit there, and at the end of the night, he would fish on the side of the day after. He'd fish on the side of the boat ramps, and the recuperating bass would sit there, and with a weightless Senko, you could always get them to bite, and he would take a couple of 6-7 pound bass and sell them to people, crazy, make himself, 30-40 bucks a fishing trip. He just wanted to go catch the fish, but it was a bonus. He'd get money out of it. And I'm not going to say who it was or anything, but yeah, there's guys that do that. Plus there's guys that poach your spots. They check it out. They see you catch fish, and next thing you know, they're in your spot. But I don't really care about that, because I mean, look, I'm here to share. I'm here to help. I want you guys to catch fish, but hopefully, I want you guys to be responsible fishermen. Like, don't eat the giants. Throw back the giants, eat the smaller fish. I plan on eating some fish this year. It's healthy for the fishery to occasionally cull out the smaller fish, because then you don't have an overpopulation issue and you don't starve out the big fish. Those are the best fish to eat. They taste the best, and I just, I'm again with the pandemic just happened and the stupid, inflation and crazy shit going on. We may have to learn to eat fish, if you know what I'm speaking. Uh, you know, so I mean, I might do some fish eating this year more than before, but either way, I'm pretty much catch and release. But I don't mind sharing my spots, because that's what this channel's about. But I get you. Don't want to blow too much stuff up. That's why certain lakes I don't go to unless really there's a bug up my ass, I guess, or someone really wants to go. Like I haven't been to Success yet. I haven't been to Los Banos Creek Reservoir yet on video. I've been there plenty of times, but not to Success. But I've been to LBC. I've been to Salt Springs. Done okay there, but I don't go there all the time. Because if I wanted to, I could consistently go to Salt Springs Valley Reservoir, and then within a few months, I guarantee you, I mean, not even a few months, within a few trips, I'll be dialed in, I'll be catching monsters, even if it's not crazy, but enough videos about that place. And the next thing you know, the place just gets blown up. I know it can only have so many boats a day, but you find that even a small YouTuber can have an effect, right? I constantly see people in some of my best fishing spots from McClure and Don Pedro that I've shared with people, but I don't mind. I don't care. More power to. I hope you guys catch fish. That's why we do this. So just eat the trout, LOL. Right, Racho? Good statement there. I would say I second that, but I freaking hate bones. So if I eat fish, I mean, I'd prefer a bass to a trout, simply because it doesn't have any bones, and I can fillet it and deep fry it, make fish tacos. Deep fried fish and chips is good. And then the smaller bass don't quite taste real strong fishy. They have a good actual flavor to them. But I agree with you. I'm a catch and release guy. But I mean, if it came down to it, and with inflation, and if World War III happens, the world falls apart, you better believe I'm eating whatever fish I'm catching. I mean, to an extent, right? But I don't think we have to worry about that. We've been lucky here in America. Been pretty safe. nice place, so I don't think we have to worry. But you never know. In case it gets red dawn and we got to turn into Wolverines, I'll be out there eating bass, trout, whatever, bluegill. I don't care. But I don't think that's why I try to give the best fishing tips and tricks that I can. You guys go out there, smash them, and have fun. But New Hogan will be the next lake. I'll be fishing there probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday at the latest. So I'll do a little reconnaissance on it. I'm going to mark a couple of spots that I'm going to go check out and get my GoPros all charged up. You guys should be seeing a video coming out soon from the Delta with me and Mad Bass. We had fun out there. He actually caught a lot more than me. I struggled. I only put like 3 or 4 in the boat, something like that, maybe 5. Yeah, he put like 8 or 9 or 10 in or something, or maybe even more, but a bunch of dinks. But he still, put more in the boat. It was harder. They were on a finesse bite, and they were really wanting things like they would eat spinner baits and stuff. But the way we were fishing more at the bank instead of parallel. And even with me throwing Nikos and other things, drop shots, the guy in the front of the boat gets all the best casts first. So the guy in the back gets the leftovers. I did the best I could. Sometimes that happens too. And even on a good day, sometimes you just get outfished. So it was fun. So we're going to show that video. Harry got almost a 4-pounder. I got a 3-pounder fishing out the Delta. Got some good footage, some beautiful scenery, some nice chatting talk. So we'll try to condense it to where it's not too much fluff and good information and good entertainment. So, that video should be coming out soon. And then we'll see how Hogan goes. So I'm excited to go to Hogan for the first time. Thank you guys for sending me somewhere new. I appreciate that because this is kind of exciting. So now instead of just a trip to McClure or Pedro or something, I'm going to go somewhere I've never been, and we'll go test the skills. And I'm out here talking about it, so we're going to be about it. And then we'll see next week how it turns out. Might get my butt kicked. Might go out there skunked, have my tail between my legs and my head down. Ooh, ooh. I suck. I didn't catch any, whatever. But I'll still make a video. Me getting skunked at Hogan. Me catching one fish at Hogan. Or could be me tearing it up. We'll see. So based on the way the lake looks, though, looks like it's more of a finesse bottom bouncing lake. Looks like there's some spots to do some stuff. But it looks like most of that probably be offshore. I don't know. We'll have to see when we get there. But from Google Earth, the lake wasn't very impressive, let's say, with the shoreline and the structure and stuff. Big lake either, it didn't look like. We'll see. So I don't know. I've seen some video of people out of New Hogan, and where they were at, it looked all rocky and craggly, but maybe I'm just tripping. I've been thinking about one of the other ones by Fresno, Millerton or Shaver or something. So big bass hang with the stripers sometimes for sure. I've seen it at O'Neill, but it's kind of more. It's not necessarily rare. Like not all the bass are running with them. Usually there's 1 or 2 in with a group of them, and I've seen that at McClure where the bass run with a carp. Believe it or not, I swear to God. Giant schools of 5 and 10 pound carp, and there'll be a freak 10 pound, 8 pound bass in there with them. And we caught my buddy Jeremy caught a 12 pounder out of Don Pedro like that. They were busting and smashing and making noise all night, and we thought they were bass. And we were chasing them all night, casting through them, along them, with them, bottom bounce reaction. And eventually, a few hours in, I ended up snagging and landing like a 20-plus pound carp. I was all mad. Oh, those are just carp. I knew what they were. And Jeremy's like, no, we got to keep fishing, bro. Trust me, we'll get one. Sure enough, man, before you even finish the sentence, boom, hooks into one. I think you got a carp too, but then I'm thinking, wait a minute, he's using a spinner bait. Sure enough, boom, boom, big fish jumps. Got it in, 12-pound bass. I landed it for him. It was awesome. So then we took it back to camp, showed everybody, and was all excited. And I think he got that fish released. 12 and some change. It was on his birthday, too. We had a keg up there. We were all shit-faced drunk. I told everybody the story. We had fun. That was the same night we went skinny dipping in the tree, or like we were skinny dipping with like a group of 10 or 15 of us, and we, for some asinine reason, decided because it was out in the back of Don Pedro by something creek over kind of in Rogers Arm, and full of wood. And there was a big old tree, bunch of arms. We all crawled in it. All the branches broke. The tree snapped. We all fell on each other. It was hilarious. Great night. We had a ton of fun. But yeah, big bass will do some freakishly weird shit. I'm sure that the real big bass will hang out with the striper. I've seen them with blue, or not blue. I've seen them with carp. Can't say I've ever seen them with a catfish or anything, unless maybe you're talking about Clear Lake. But yeah, big bass will do some crazy behavior. So if I could find the striper, maybe I could find the bass. So it'll be interesting and fun. I don't know what'll happen. So I'm going to bring a swim bait rod for that lake for sure. I'm going to toss probably a Sneaky Pete and an S Waver. So we'll toss the S Waver and the Sneaky Pete. Probably start with the Sneaky Pete because it's less expensive, I think, the one that I got. Might be actually more expensive than the S Waver now that I think about it. I don't remember. It's a smaller swim bait though, so I'll probably start with that and then upgrade to the S Waver. If I feel confident and I catch a few on the Sneaky Pete, then I'll probably switch over. So I'm going to have a glide bait out there, and I'll also probably be chucking something like a square bill up along any rocks I can find. Based on the shoreline, I'm probably going to toss a jig and some other kind of bottom bouncing bait if I'm struggling to catch fish. I'm assuming I'm going to be looking for marking signatures using my fish finder, hitting up a couple spots visually that look good. What I'll do is I'll pull up to them and I'll probably throw the glide bait for about 5 to 10 casts, 15 casts on each spot that looks like it should hold fish. Then maybe crankbait, spinner bait, something like that. And then once I put a half hour on a spot, might throw a jig and a bottom bouncer at it. And then once I've done 45 to 50 minutes bounce, leave that spot. And I should be able to get about 7 or 8 spots in, maybe even 10 spots in a full day of fishing from like 6 in the morning to like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Because I'm not going by tournament times, just, good fishable light. So we'll see what we can put together and what we can do. I'm excited. It'll be interesting. So I kind of like this idea too. So next month, we'll see how this one goes. We'll have you guys vote to send me somewhere else. So before we do, we'll list off a bunch of lakes and get you guys thinking, like where would you want to send me? And go have fun. I'm either going to go get skunked or not. But hey, Silveris5, nice to see you on tonight. Appreciate the support, brother. So same thing with Racho and Big Bass King, everybody else. Thanks for hanging out tonight. It's 8:46. We got about 15 more minutes. If you guys have any tips or tricks you want to share with the community, if you have any info or you guys just want to chat about different subjects, topics, or expound upon what we've been talking about, feel free. This is where we leave the floor to you guys. And I'm going to actually shut up here, smash a beer, and just interact with you guys, have some fun. So we only got a few people on tonight. Usually we have a good little number, 10, 15 people on. Last couple weeks, it's been in the 8 to 10 range. A little slow. But hey, that's what I get for missing a few days, I guess, right? So sometimes when you miss a couple of days of the live streams, people just kind of forget about you. It's like, oh, we got people have lives, Maybe you guys catch this afterwards, when it's not live. So for those of you who've hung out with me tonight, appreciate you very much. Just dropping in, leaving a comment, coming and saying hi. Leave a like if you get a chance. If you haven't hit the like button already, hit that like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know, hey, we like the channel. And hopefully it'll help us grow here. But I'm excited to bring some changes, some new stuff. And if you guys didn't know, we had our giveaway last month. Or just last week for this month. Ray won a fishing combo, and Mike Dozier got himself a lure pack. So I don't think Ray told me what kind of rod or reel he wants, unless it wasn't Ray that won. But I think, yeah, it was. It was Ray and it was Mike. So anyways. we'll see you guys for sure out there at Hogan. I'll have something to put together for you guys. I don't know what. Hopefully, it's not a big fat skunk. Ugh, don't want to be doing that. But you know what, though? I mean, why not? You go out fishing. If you don't catch fish, so what? Share the video. Let people know it's okay to get beat up. It happens. Also, maybe you guys can be constructive criticism. What could I have done different? So I'm going to do a little bit more when I fish. I'm going to show you guys when I pick up a new reel or rod or lure, and I start fishing with it. And then I'm either going to catch fish or not. And then when I switch, I'll show a new rod, reel, lure, whatever I'm using. And that way you guys can see what lure I'm throwing on what rod, what reel, what line. And then I'll even include a cast or two of me casting it and working it. And we'll try not to be too where it's just too much time taken up. Spread it throughout the video a little bit so that you guys could get an idea of what I'm doing during a day instead of just a small window showing me catch the fish. So you can see what reasoning led me to catching the fish that way and what things I had to do. Like, where did I fail? Where did I not catch fish? Or how was I using my lures too? Because maybe you guys, like I said, could have some constructive criticism. You see a video where I say, okay, guys, we're going to be throwing the crankbait and the jerkbait. And I go for an hour and a half, and I'm throwing them and I don't catch nothing. The next thing you know, I'm throwing the jig or something. And in the video, I might say, oh, I'm throwing a crankbait, and I do a cast, and that's it. And the next thing you know, I'm catching a fish, and it's on a jig or a drop shot. What the hell happened to the crankbait, right? So how is he using the crankbait? Is he using a square bill? Is he using a medium diver? Is he using a deep diver? Is he casting parallel? What's he doing? Then you guys can maybe give me some constructive criticism or also take some tips and tricks from what you see me doing. Even if it doesn't work then, it will and may work down the road. So, you can also get that out of it as well. So I'm going to start kind of tweaking the video formats a little bit to also include a little more banter and conversation and some entertainment in there, as well as the education and the fishing. So it's not just like, hey, here's another fish, trying to make sure that I'm putting some good entertainment value into what you guys are watching. And then also on these live streams, what you guys are either listening to, if you're listening to it like a podcast, or if you're actually watching it and hanging out. Yeah, there's a good spot at Hogan. Backside of the point is a rocky drop off. You can stroke them. Oh, spinning rod. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, Silvera, if you want, you can always send me a tagged location or tell me what arm or creek arm. Because I noticed there was a couple of points that looked decent, and there's one in particular that's by the dam that's really long, and it looks like it has a sharp drop off on both sides. And then there's one that looks like it's pretty long, and that it's a real shallow, long tapering point. Yeah, send me a few if you want. If you can send them through Facebook or Messenger or text or whatever. And if you give me a couple of pinned locations, just the area to fish, don't have to give away your gold. I'll go and try to do what I can. But that's the type of stuff I'm talking about, that even if you're good, you think you're not good, whatever. You could be a pro, you could be an average Joe. It does help to at least have someone say, hey, I've been there before. This is what I caught them on. And if you know they're being truthful, that's really helpful, because then either you go out and you can start with what information you were given from them. And then if it works, you can build upon it, right? If it doesn't work and it's all falling apart, then you can start doing what you wanted to do, or your own ideas and your own different thoughts. And vice versa. Say you go out there, you say, well, I'm going to do stuff my way, and you go around and you fish for a while and you struggle. Yeah, well, let me go check in on this spot, or let me throw. Guy said that he did that. And if you trust the source you're getting it from, it's really important. That's why I try to be always open and honest about where I'm fishing, what I'm fishing, so that I can help other people. Hey, Mike, nice to see you on tonight. We were just talking about you. You're going to get a lure pack coming soon. You want some LV 500s? we're gonna hook you up, brother. We're gonna send you some nice lures. So thanks as always, Mike. And then Ray, he's got a spinning combo coming. So I'll ship out Mike. I'll ship out your LVs and a little couple other lures. Ray, I can meet you with the spinning combo if you're local. I believe you're local. I know. I think I know a couple Rays. I think one's out by Sandy Mush, and the other one is in like Escalon or Modesto area or something. So we'll plan to go hit Hogan up. I've talked about where I'm going to fish and what I'm going to do, and we'll see if I can put my money where my mouth is. Go figure out a new lake. I've never been there before, and hopefully I'll get them. Good thing is this time of year, a lot of fish should be shallower. Even if I just want to get some, some males in the boat to get some confidence building. So I probably shouldn't have to fish too hard, too far for them. But you never know. Some lakes can kick your ass and teach you some respect. It's called fishing and not catching for a reason. Because sometimes you're Merced. Okay, there you go. Yeah, because sometimes you're fishing, you're not doing much catching, right? Ain't that the truth? Sometimes you're doing nothing but catching, not a ton of fishing, if you know what I mean. You're just having a good day. So we'll go figure them out and try, and I'll bring you guys that video, win, lose, or draw, whatever happens. I'll make sure you guys see that, so that'll be out soon. And then look for the Delta video. I've got my 2 GoPros here with the Delta trip. We're going to be releasing that couple days. So that'll make 3 Delta videos in like 3 weeks, pretty much 1 month, 3 Delta trips. So I'm going to be heading there more often. This last 2 weeks has been not as many fishing trips as usual because I've been focused on bills, money, my work, and just getting my feet because it's spring. So I have to take every little job that comes my way right now because in the summertime, I'm going to have so much work and I'll be doing okay financially. I won't have to worry about it. But then I could just take a day off and just go fish and not stress because even though I'm missing money, I can try to schedule my workout. But I'm doing good during the summer. I do heating and air, and this is the Central Valley, so summer is my go-to time. So in the spring and fall, it can be kind of slow sometimes. So that's what double-digit bass and big bass. Because if you're one of those guys that you haven't quite cracked a double digit yet, or you don't have anything really big at all, your best bet at catching a 5+ pound fish and just getting one out the way is going to be night fishing. Your best bet catching a double digit can be during spawn and pre-spawn, but summertime I've cracked quite a few of them as well. So and then what I always say to myself, you catch a bass post spawn and it's still 10 pounds. Imagine what that fish would have been if you would have caught that exact same fish in February or March. 12 pounder, so what a monster. You definitely can get a bigger fish certain times of the year. That doesn't mean you can't get a double digit others. And during the summertime is when the monsters come out. And night fishing is so wonderful. 110 degrees all day in the summer, and you're potentially getting skin cancer fishing out in the sun, and your eyes are getting damaged by the light bouncing off the water. Nah, I'm cool with that. So I'll go at night and fish from sundown or an hour before sundown till 2 hours after sun up and get a 14 to 16 hour fishing trip and just have the time of my life. And all during the whole damn trip, it's 80 degrees. I got my t-shirt on. It's perfect. It's comfortable. There's no mosquitoes out. The stars are out. It's so beautiful. And there's just fish after fish after fish. It's just usually the best fishing of my life is in the summer at nighttime. And that's what I'm going to strongly recommend to you guys. Now, I know some friends of mine have really bad eyesight. I say then you're going to have to learn to just dial your stuff in, keep your boat at a certain distance from shore. If you get snagged, I would recommend losing your lure over potentially having it slingshot back at you, because during the daytime you might be able to duck or dodge or aim it just right. At nighttime, you get a crankbait or a big heavy jig stuck in the rocks. I mean, you might go try to get it out. It depends on your skill level and what you feel like. But I've Had a couple of close calls taking other people fishing with me, and they don't have good depth perception. And they cast into the rocks, they get snagged, and they're jerking and yanking. Next thing you know, lures are shooting at us like bullets. That can be a bit of a challenge. Getting hooked, you can get hooked at night real easy. When you get a fish in the boat at nighttime and you're trying to unhook them when the low light conditions, no light, trying to fumble and fiddle around, that's when accidents can happen. So summertime fishing can be a little more tricky, but it's also safer. There's no big wake boats out on the lake that could flip you, roll you, or just annoy the shit out of you or run into you with drunk drivers. Um, you're not going to get skin cancer or heat stroke. I love fishing in the summer at night. So I'm pretty sure you guys could tell by the way I'm talking about it. It's like my love interest. Summertime night fishing is just, man, it's epic. There's nothing like it in my boat. I would rather fish summertime and nighttime than spawn any day, hands down. Any time of year, I prefer summer nighttime fishing. It is just absolutely my favorite. And it is when you can do the most power fishing, usually. Crankbait, spinnerbait, jigs, topwater, just your heart's content. Summertime is the best at night. Um, and, one of like Steven Crowder changed my mind. Maybe for you it's something else, but for me it's summer. And I'm not a big swim bait fisherman yet. So as I morph and I get better at swim bait fishing, I might change my mind down the road if I start doing like Don Mormon, the legendary master who's got like 60 plus double digits, on swim baits over the years, a great fisherman. Then maybe it'll be during different times. I don't know. I'll have to figure all that out. But I know for a fact that as far as regular traditional power fishing, spinnerbait, crankbait, topwater jig, stuff like that, summertime. Now swim baits, maybe it's pre-spawn, winter, I don't know. But I'll try. I'm going to figure it out. So you guys will watch me grow with my swim bait game. I've been talking the talk for a while now, but this summer when I'm financially doing really good, I'm gonna go out and buy like a couple $200-300 swim baits, nice, $400, $500, $600 swim bait rod, have my line, have it all set up, and we're gonna go figure this shit out together. You're gonna watch me catch. I've caught swim bait fish. Okay. So I'm going to say, you might hear me say this is my first swim bait fish. But when I say that, I'm going to mean my first big one. I have never caught anything probably over 3 or 4 pounds on a swim bait, like a technical swim bait. I've caught them on like a little Kitech and little swim baits. I've caught in some 4 and 5 pounders. But I've never caught anything over 3 or so even on a big swim bait like a Hud or a S-Waver or a Sneaky Pete or a glide bait. While I have caught fish on them, they've almost always been 1 to 3 pound aggressive males, and almost always at McClure. Stupid ass spotted bass or largemouth hitting the swim baits bigger than them, or like they're barely, and it's like, oh, what were you thinking? And I get all excited and I bring a dink in. And the frustrating thing is I'll pick up my Ned rig, my drop shot, and have 10 fish in an hour, pick the swim bait up, and it'll be 2 hours in. And on that perfect cast where there's a fish, you finally get one, and it's a damn 1.5 pounder. It's been so frustrating. So I cannot wait to finally catch my first real big fish on a swim bait, 5+ pounds on like a glide bait or something. I'm excited for it. I know it's going to happen. So you guys will get to, like I said, you guys will get to watch me grow here on the channel and actually learn while I'm learning. I don't know it all. I never professed to, but I'm excited to learn more and share it with you guys. So hopefully we'll smash them. Swim bait's going to be a new part of this next couple upcoming years of fishing, and hope it is successful. And I appreciate you guys kind of cheering me along and helping out. And any constructive criticism is always appreciated. But we'll be seeing you guys for sure with some swim bait stuff. So thanks very much for watching tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Sorry I was a few minutes late, but again, smash that like button if you get a chance. We'll be at New Hogan this next week and a lot of cool things to come. Congratulations to Ray for winning a spinning setup, and congratulations to Mike Dozer for winning a lure pack. Next month we're going to have some more member giveaways. We'll probably do a big one, in the summertime when I'm financially doing good. I'll probably do something really nice, and we'll have a cool, giveaway. I don't want to promise or say anything yet. It all depends on how things go, but I'd like to do something neat for you guys. So we'll see how it goes. Again, I swear, I mean, I'm not the best fisherman. I try my best to share good information and knowledge, but honestly, I want to pay it forward. So if you guys get a chance, share these videos, like these videos. If by some freakish chance we're ever able to actually grow to a substantial channel and get up there with guys like Tide Pig Patrol, Milliken Fishing, Tactical Bass, and if we can even break, if we can get 50 to 100,000 subs on this channel, man, I swear to God, I would love to pay it forward and do stuff like all kinds of fun stuff, meet and greets and fishing trips, but literally like giveaways, like where I'm giving away cheap little boats and trucks and stuff, like Mr. Beast style, and also, you guys, I'm sure you guys know I have my Common Sense Talks channel. I would like to branch out into making maybe a few other channels where we could talk about some other subjects and I don't upset my fishing community, because we're here for fishing, not to hear me talk about other stuff. But if you're interested in that, I've got lots of plans. I do have another channel called Common Sense Talks. I'd like to plug that real quick. So if you're interested in hearing my views politically, news-wise, on pop culture, video games, movies, kind of like just the catch-all be-all channel where we could talk about everything, go check that channel out. Smash the subscribe button, and the more people we get over there, eventually the more videos I do over there. So I drop a video here and there over there, try to make sure the channel's not inactive and dead. We don't have a ton of subscribers, but once we get to 1,000 and we get up where we can actually monetize the channel, I have some fun plans for that one. Trust me. I actually believe that if I am able to do it correctly, my other channel will probably blow this one out the water, because eventually most people here will probably want to go see what I have to say over there. Maybe not, but and then I'll get new people over there. Might bring them over here too, guys that never really were into fishing. Maybe they're all political or news, or maybe they're super nerdy and they like me, like I'm a super nerd. I like Dungeons and Dragons, and look at my book that I'm reading, Terry Goodkind, Siege of Stone, like magic and wizards and warrior shit. So yes, I'm a nerd, right? But I love it, and I have many different interests, from video games and books and reading to collecting cards and sports stuff. Here's a ton of autographed and collectible cards. Ken Griffey, rookie. I got all kinds of stuff that I'm into. So I'm hoping to blow that channel up, because there's more opportunities. Just on in general, talking about news and opinions, sports, movies, pop culture. You say pick a thing and stick to it. No, seriously. I'm a pretty well-rounded individual, meaning that I like a lot of stuff. So, I could speak a few different languages. I like different cultures. I'm into food. I'm into collectibles. I'm into movies, video games. I'm into pop culture, the news, music. You name it, I'm into a lot of different things. So, but I don't want to bore you guys with that. So if you're interested in that, go check out Common Sense Talks. Hit that subscribe button. Check out a few of my videos if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with live streams. Monday, I don't know what I got planned, but Wednesday, I'll be talking to you guys hopefully about my New Maloney's trip, or I might miss the live stream because I'll be out at New Maloney. So it'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll try to plan it for Tuesday. So Wednesday live stream, hopefully we could talk about it. And then Friday, if I miss Wednesdays, we could cover it there. So either way, next week, we're going to talk about my fishing trip out at New Hogan. Sorry, I said New Maloney's, New Hogan. So we're going to be out at there. And if you guys have any questions or any stuff you guys want to talk about, feel free to let me know. We can incorporate that into the videos. But otherwise, I appreciate my wife bringing me these beers, so I'm going to smash them and get out of your guys' hair. And have a great weekend. Tight lines. I hope everybody has fun. NorCal off limits. If you see this at a later time or you're still on tonight, I hope you do good out there throwing your swim baits. Good luck. Smack them. And to everybody else, thanks for being members. Thanks for being subscribers. You guys mean the world. So see y'all. Tight line, Silvera 5. Thanks for jumping on tonight. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week. We'll let you know how new Hogan goes and catch you guys up on all the newest news and information. And hopefully I'll have some great stuff to share with you guys. So we'll keep it real. Now, I've got a couple really good tip videos that I want to share with you guys, but that'll be next week as well. So stick around for those as well. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a good night.